Hello, Amherst County Public Schools. This is Rob Arnold, Superintendent, and I'm coming to you today as it's been a couple of weeks since we've last spoken, but I felt like it was important to come back to you, provide you with some information before the 2019-2020 school year closed. As you know, on March 13th, our world's changed. Your world changed, my world changed, but more importantly, our students' world changed. All of a sudden, meeting the needs of our students looked very different. Within a day, we became a meal distribution center. To date, we have distributed over 76,000 meals to our students, which is amazing that we've been able to do that. And I want to thank those folks that are on the ground providing those meals every day to our students. As teachers, you had to learn on the fly how to be the emotional connection for our students. More than ever, our students who deal with anxiety and stress on a daily basis, to add this pandemic on top of that became just a burden for our students emotionally. And you had to become part counselor and reach out to those students and provide them the emotional support that they needed. And all of this was before we could have even provided any instructional material or information. But as you know, you were unable to be with those students and you had to do this virtually, which was an enormous change from our past practices. And so I think for all of those reasons, because change is such a difficult thing, especially for adults. The change that you were required to make, and as quickly as you were required to make it, I know that I am grateful for your efforts, and I am positive that the students of Amherst County are grateful for your efforts. So for all of those things, I want to thank you first. So I want to talk to you today about a few things for now and then for moving forward. I want to talk about the budget, our 2020-21 budget, and I want to talk about a return to school for 2020-21, and then I would like to talk about professional development opportunities and expectations for the next couple of weeks. And so let's talk about the budget first. And as you may know, on Thursday of last week, we presented an amended budget to our school board. So if you remember, in March, we had a budget that was passed that called for a 3% salary increase, amongst other things. And we were feeling really great about our budget. And things changed quickly. Things changed. And since much of our budget is based on things like state sales tax and revenues generated from those sales tax, quickly it was realized that the amount of money that was provided to us in the next budget was not going to be available. And so the governor amended his budget, and the General Assembly in April voted to approve his amended budget. And what that meant for Amherst County Public Schools was that the budget that we approved in March now had $600,000 removed from it. So in order to make our budget for the following year balance, we had to make some changes to our current budget. And one of the changes that we had to make, and that is most impactful to you, is that we had to reduce our 3% salary increase to 1.5%. They were given an option to reduce that all the way down to 0, but as I understand the value that school employees have, and I think now that the country understands the real value that you guys have, the board went with my recommendation to have at least a 1.5% raise. All this on top of the fact that there's still 0% increase to health insurance. So all in all, we feel like that the budget is still a net positive, especially at this time where so many people are unemployed. I think I feel very grateful that we can provide this type of budget moving forward. And so if you have any questions moving forward about our budget, I did send a document out on Friday to kind of give you more detailed information, but certainly you can reach out and talk to me about that. So let's talk a little bit about returning to school. So as states begin the process of opening back up, quickly the attention has turned towards what are schools going to do. And I had this discussion with the school board on Thursday night, and I told them that they'll start to see things from school divisions about when we're going to return and what time of year we're going to return. And I want you to know that nobody knows that. And if they're saying they do, they're not telling the truth. And so we don't know when we're going to return. We have some ideas about what the time frame is and about what time of the year it might be. Was it the fall or next winter or what? But we don't have any specifics. So I'm not going to come to you and try to give you any specifics about that. So you might know that over the past month or so, there's been a state task force that has discussed and provided guidance on, I guess, what it would look like to return. What are the key elements that schools have to deal with and think about as they return to school? And we're fortunate in Amherst County to have 3 members of our school community on that task force. Dr. Derek Brown is on the committee. Holly Jennings is on the committee, and I'm on the committee. And we are currently working with state groups on providing that guidance. But it quickly occurred to me that while this guidance was for the entire state, and there are lots of different school divisions in this state, all the way from Fairfax to Wise County, and a lot of different ones in between. And so this one guidance document is not going to meet all the needs of Amherst County Public Schools. So I have put together a task force to deal with Amherst County Public Schools specifically, and we're calling it the Roadmap to Return, to kind of stay in line with our comprehensive plan, Roadmap to Success. And so we've put this task force together, and we've begun working on what are the things we have to consider as we come back to school in a safe and effective way. And so one thing I want to make sure that we can do, though, is get input from everybody. And so that's difficult. When we're not able to be around each other, that's very difficult. So we're currently working on setting up a virtual town hall, and we're going to do this on June 4th at 7 p.m. and it's going to be a Zoom town hall, and we'll require that people sign up for this. And so we'll have an email sign up where people will log in to their Zoom accounts on that night, and I will present some information, some key questions, the essential understandings that we have to have as we return to school. And after I get done speaking, then we're going to take all the guests on the Zoom town hall, and we're going to go into breakout rooms. So we'll have 5 or 6 people in each room. There'll be a facilitator in each room, and we'll allow people to kind of answer some general questions like, what are your expectations? What are your fears? What are your hopes upon return? And so that way, this task force, as they begin to write this document, to provide guidance to this community, that we've heard from the community. So we really encourage you to be a part of that. That's June 4th at 7 o'clock. We're going to make some more specific information available, but I wanted to kind of get this out to you so you can get it on your calendar today. And so finally, this brings me to our professional development expectations. So this week that we're currently in, we would like for you to kind of wrap up your communications with your students. We're graduating this Saturday night, March 23rd, and then the following week, which begins March 23rd for graduation. It's May 23rd. And so then May 26th is the Tuesday after Memorial Day. And from May 26th to Monday, June 1st, that will be the end of your your contract, your 2019-2020 school contract. And on those days, we're going to provide professional development. And the expectation is that you make yourself available for these professional development opportunities. They will all be online, they will all be virtual, and so you will not have to come into the building. Now, of course, if you have spotty internet, or it's difficult for you to manage getting the internet, we will invite you to the schools, because the principals have been asked to come back to school every day, and so the buildings will be open, your classroom will be open, and you can come in and be alone in your classroom and do the professional development that we're going to offer. So there are a lot of unknowns about returning to school, but I think there are two change practices that I'm 100% sure will be a necessity when we return. And those two things are a greater understanding of social emotional learning. How do we provide for those emotional needs of our students when they return? And two, what does the technology look like for distance learning? You had to do these things starting in March, but you didn't receive the appropriate professional development. And as Amherst County has quickly, through all of this, become a leader in this region from an educational standpoint, I want to continue that and make sure that our educators have received the appropriate professional development that they're going to need when our students return to them in 2020, 2021. Mr. Gallagher sent an email to you on Friday describing these expectations, and you'll receive another document very soon this week that detail and outline the PD opportunities that you'll have next week. But make sure you understand that this is an expectation of your contract moving forward, and we want to make sure that you have given yourself some time to participate. So those are the things that I wanted to bring to you today. I cannot stress to you enough how thankful I am to be in Amherst County, to have such a willing and caring group of professionals like yourself. And so I want to thank you for that. I want to wish everybody safety and good health moving forward, and I hope to see and talk to you soon. Have a good day.